still small voice cries out.
Hey everyone, it's MK. Welcome back. I know it's been a while since I had a video out, so I apologize about that, but I've been a little busy. So first things first, you may notice that my machine is not here. So she has been out at Handy Quilter headquarters in Utah, just getting a little bit of a spa treatment. Some of you have asked me about her if there was anything wrong, and the answer is no. She's just a really hard worker. And just like the rest of us, when we've worked really hard, we deserve a little bit of special treatment, right? So thanks to Handy Quilter for taking care of her while I have been on vacation. All right, so back to the topic for today. I thought what we would do today is talk a little bit about file organization. And I probably should have covered that way back when I started my Sim Series videos. What we're going to talk about today is a little bit of the way that I organize, store, and manage all of my digital designs. I use iPattern Studio here in MK Quilts. And I'm just going to share with you a few things on the way that I use that to help me pull together that massive amount of patterns that I've accumulated. I know that it's not the only program out there. I know it's not the only way to do it. But with all of these videos that I share with you, it's just the MK way. So let me take you to my computer. I'm going to go through a few things. We'll do just a couple things in simulation today, and then I'll meet you right back here.
All right, let's get started. Let's talk a little bit about iPattern Studio. The first thing I want to let you know about iPattern Studio is it's just a tool to help you catalog and organize your patterns. It's not a program that's going to give you functionality to make any changes or alterations to the pattern. It's not going to allow you to redigitize anything or edit anything. It's really just a way for you to keep track of what you have. All right. The next thing I want to mention is that all of us are going to handle our storage in a little bit different way. Okay, this is just a screenshot of my taskbar at the bottom of my computer. Yours might look a little bit different. But basically what we're talking about is our file management system, which is a collection of folders that we have on our computers to save our files in. All right? So as we begin to talk about this, I just want you to make sure that you know on your system where your files are located. If you need help with that, you might want to ask somebody who helped you set up your computer, or a Geek Squad, or somebody like that if you're unsure. If you know where they are at, where they're located, then you're going to want to be able to identify a master folder or create a master folder for you to save all of your designs in. All right, this next slide just basically shows you kind of an example of my file management system on my computer. All right, I've just taken the opportunity to X out some of the file folders that I have. But basically I have, some folders for different types of things that I do. Here is my main folder for all of my quilt downloads. In other words, this is my main folder for purchased patterns that I get off the internet. All right, just a little caveat about why I have an 01 at the front of the name. If you've taken some of my online classes, you know that we use 01 a lot during those sessions. And it's basically just so that we can name items. And by putting an 01 in the name, it pops that name to the top of the list. All right, I have several folders on my laptop. And as far as my working with my laptop, I really am only interested in the ones that relate to quilting. So a lot of times I'll just put 01 at the top of those, and then they will appear at the top of the list so that I can very easily go and find them and know where I'm at. All right, so underneath my quilt downloads folder, I have all of the different companies that I download patterns from. And this is not an all-inclusive list. This is just a few of the ones that I have. All right. I like to create a subfolder for each company where I purchase from. That way, if I have a question for a designer, or if I were to have a problem with a pattern, or anything like that, I could easily go back to this folder and figure out who I bought it from so that I know who to contact. All right. Underneath of each one of those folders, here just happens to be a folder that I have for Digitech. Anything that I purchase from Digitech Patterns, I create another subfolder, and I call that folder the name of the pattern set. Okay, so I have a lot of patterns from Digitech. I have a lot of patterns from other companies as well, but Digitech's just the lucky one to get the shout out during this video. Alright, so I have a pattern set from Digitech called Angel Wings. I have a pattern set called Bellflower, and so on and so forth. Alright, so here is the pattern, the subfolder for a pattern that I bought called All Decked Out. It's a pantograph, and in that folder are all of the different file formats that the designers send to us these days. And that's really pretty nice. We know that we're HQ people, and so our pattern file extensions are going to be HQF. But on the chance that we ever would get a different machine, I can't imagine why we would do that, but if we did, we still are able to have the pattern that we purchased in the file format that we need. Alright, so that's just a really basic breakdown of how I save my files on my hard drive. Now, one other thing that's very, very important. If you've followed me online and taken my classes, you know that my husband helps me a lot with the technical side of my company. Paul is a data management or a data protection professional by trade. So it basically means that he's a backup guy. He knows how important data is, and he knows how important it is that we back that up so that if we ever have issues or problems or anything happens with our system, we have that information backed up. So all of the stuff that I just went through with you just now, all of that information is on my computer. It's all backed up through an off-site encrypted type of a service so that if I have any issues or I lose anything, I can immediately get a backup. So I can't stress to you enough how important it is to come up with a plan for backup. It's very, very vital. Alright, so I thought what we would do today is let you watch me as I walk through downloading and saving a pattern that I just purchased from Digitech, and then I'll go ahead and show you how I'm going to keyword that inside of iPattern Studio. So here is the pattern. I've already purchased it from Digitech, and it's in my account folder waiting to be saved to my computer. So here it is, a Carly Porter border. It's called Panto 52, and you can't see it right now, but it's kind of a stair step, kind of a border pantograph design. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to come down here on my computer and I'm going to open up my file manager. Now please keep in mind this is where my patterns are being stored on my hard drive. Yours may look a little bit different, and remember, just have a plan and know where exactly on your hard drive those are being saved. Alright, so I'm going to come down under my documents, and I have one called Quilt Downloads. You might have it named something else. Here's my Digitech folder where I save everything I purchased from Digitech. I'm going to open that. Up here I'm going to create a new folder for myself, and I'm going to call it the Carly Border Panto 52 Stair Steps. That's just kind of an indicator to me of what that actually is, since Carly just named it with a number. Alright, so we'll go ahead and create that before I do anything else. Alright, then I'm going to go back to my Digitech page, and I'm going to go ahead and click on their button that says Downloads. So let's go ahead and do that. Alright, here it is. And it looks like, once again, I have to click up here. So I'm just scanning over the page to see what they want me to do next. Click here to download the files that you've purchased. All right, I did that. Click here to download again. All right, we'll click there. And what it's going to do is start downloading those patterns, most likely to a zip folder. And most likely your Windows computer is going to be directing that download to your downloads directory. Alright, so just keep in mind that's not where we just created the file where we want to save it. Windows is doing something automatic at this point. Alright, so I'm just going to click on Show in Folder. Once I do that, I can definitely see that it really is saving it into this downloads directory. So I'm just going to wait until that finishes. I'm going to go scroll back up to the top. And right now it's not quite done. And there I can see it's done downloading into my downloads folder. So I'm going to double click on that and I'm going to take a look at it. And there is the pattern included in all the different machine formats. This is really just the one that I want, but I'm going to go ahead and extract all of this and save it into that folder that we created. All right, so I'm going to do an extract all. Then I have to tell my computer where exactly do I want this to be extracted to. Well, I want it to go into that folder that I created. So again, you can go ahead and watch what I'm doing here, but yours are probably going to be in a slightly different spot on your computer. I can't stress enough, just know where that is. All right, so there's the folder that I created, the Carly Border Panto 52 Stair Steps. That's where I want all of these files to be extracted to. So I'll click that folder, and then I'm going to click Extract. And now there they are, just as quick as can be, onto my hard drive. Now, I'm going to want to go ahead and keyword that inside of iPattern Studio. So let me break away from here and I'll meet you inside of iPattern Studio. All right, so here we are inside of iPattern Studio. And I just want you to know that what I've done to get myself to this spot, once it opened, I just clicked on View All, and I clicked on this little icon right here that looks like a picture. You can view your patterns in list format, or you can view them in picture format, and I like to have it in picture format. Now, if you're new to iPattern Studio, you may not have any designs showing up right now because you haven't imported your patterns into the program. Now, I'm not going to go through all of that with you today. That would just take a little bit too long. But what you can do is read about how to download by going through the Help menu. One little tip that I can give you, when I was first getting started with iPattern Studio, I didn't kind of take the time to read through some of that, and I jumped right into downloading my directory from my hard drive. And basically what I did at that point was I downloaded everything, and I ended up having a lot of duplicates to go through and wade through and delete, and I made more work for myself in the beginning because I didn't quite understand what I was doing. So the moral of that story is just kind of slow down, go ahead and read through the help a little bit about iPattern Studio, and kind of have a plan for where you might want to start with your downloads. What I might suggest to you is start by downloading or adding. What we're actually going to do is add these designs into our iPattern Studio database. What I would suggest is maybe start downloading them or adding them one folder at a time, or maybe one designer at a time, just so that you kind of get the hang of it and you don't end up having so much extra stuff to wade through because you've added things that you didn't really intend to add. All right, so I am at the point right now where I just need to add one more file because I've downloaded that Carly Porter design and I want to get that cataloged inside of iPattern. So I'm just going to add a file. Right now I'm not going to add a folder because I don't want to add everything, and I just want to grab that one HQF file from Carly that I just purchased. So I'm just going to go ahead and add a file. All right, so I need to now point my computer at the subdirectory where I just saved it. All right, so I'm going back on my computer. I'm going back to my Digitex, and I'm going to find the Carly pattern. There it is, the Panto 52 stair steps. That's what I want. Now, down here, I can see that at some point I downloaded a QLI pattern. And we know that our pattern, or our machines rather, run the HQF. The HQV file format is the new format, and we can also run QLI. So you can import both of these file formats. I'm going to go ahead and click that drop-down menu. I'm going to change it to HQF. I'm going to go back and point myself at Carly's folder again, and there it is. So you can see that right now, even though I know that all of those other file formats are in that folder, because I've told iPattern Studio that I only want to import the HQF folder, or rather file, I've just said that's the only file I want. There it is. I'm going to click it, and I'm going to go ahead and select it. And that's going to import it into iPattern Studio. Now, here's the thing. I'm still at my home screen, even though it's been imported, okay? And I don't really exactly know where that file is right now. I'm not sure that it made a keyword for that just automatically by doing the upload. And when I search over here along the left-hand side with all of my keywords, I can see that I do have some keywords with Carly's name on it. So if I go ahead and click on Carly, my keyword Carly, there is some of the patterns of hers that I already have that I've already keyworded. But you're going to see that the one that I just uploaded is not there. So we need to go ahead and address that folder that we bought. Now, I know that when I uploaded that pattern, it was called Border 52. So I already know that built into the name of that file is the number 52. So I'm going to search for 52, and I'm going to see what comes up. And there's some other patterns that I have that have the number either 5 or 2 somewhere in the name of that pattern. But here's the one that I actually want. There's the one that I just uploaded from Carly. So I'm going to double click on that one, just to kind of take a look at it. There it's copyrighted from Digitech, tells a little bit about the design, the default size, and whatnot. So that's the one that I want. I'm just going to go ahead and save, and that will close this box. Now if I wanted to, I could put the keywords right there. I usually put it in from this other menu over here on the right-hand side. So whoops, it disappeared, so let's just go ahead and find it again by typing 52. There it is. I'm going to go over here and I'm going to click on keywords, and I'm just going to add some keywords on this. Now you'll notice that the word panto is already built in to the name of this pattern, but I want to add an extra keyword called panto. I also want to add a keyword called border. I have a keyword that I like to use for all of my borders. Okay, I'm going to go ahead and also keyword this with Carly. I'm going to keyword this with stairs, and I'm going to keyword this with the price point that I use in my studio for borders and pantos. Now, I don't exactly know at this point which price point that I'm going to put it in for my purposes, so I think actually I'm just going to stop right here, and I'm going to say that that's enough keywords for that particular pattern. Okay, so now let's go back and let's just search for the keyword Carly. And now when I search for the keyword Carly, it finds that pattern because I went ahead and keyworded it as such. So hopefully you're going to see that that is a really quick way to, after you purchase your pattern, to save it to a subdirectory or a file folder that you've created on your hard drive. Then take a minute to import it or add it to your iPattern Studio. Once it's added, you want to go back and find it and then go ahead and add some keywords on it. Now, I might add more keywords to this later. I don't exactly know if I'm going to or not. I'm probably going to go back at some point and put that pantograph price category on it. But for right now, I think it's good. I'm going to know where to find it. Now, the next thing I'm going to show you is how I get that to my flash drive so that I can use it in my Pro Stitcher and stitch it out. All right, so let's pretend that we want to work on a quilt now, and we want to go ahead and export a few files to our flash drive to work on a quilt at our Pro Stitcher. The way that I usually do it, although you can create folders and additional folders onto your flash drive from right here within iPattern Studio, I will usually do that at the File Manager step. So if you open up your File Manager and you point yourself at your flash drive, I have created a quilt, and I'm I'm just pretending right now that my customer's name is Mary, and I want to create some patterns inside of this folder for her. If I double click on it right now, it's empty. So let's go back in iPattern Studio, and let's select some that we want to export. Okay, well, how about we go ahead and search again on the keyword Carly, and let's pretend we want to use this pattern right here. All we have to do is click it. We're going to right click, and then we're going to do export pattern. A list is going to be pulled up, and we want to go ahead, find our removable drive. Right there is the folder that I've already pre-created. I'm just going to select it, and then hit the select button down here. And there we have export complete. All right, well, let's say that that's not the only pattern that we want to use. Let's go ahead and do a view all. How about we want to search for something that's called sash, and it's a narrow sash. Now, those are two keywords that I have implemented in my database for iPattern Studio. So obviously, you're going to have to make decisions about what kind of keywords you want to use in your studio. All right, let's say that I want to select that pattern, and maybe I want to select this pattern because maybe I'm uncertain about what I'm going to use on this quilt, but I want to have both of those patterns in my subdirectory on my flash drive so that I can decide what I want to work with. All right, well, we can select two at one time. Let's go ahead and right click, export selected patterns. Again, we want to make sure that we've selected Mary's quilt is the folder where we want those to be exported to. Hit select, and there we go, export complete, successfully exported two files. All right, and I'm going to pick one more keyword. How about we just keyword panto and modern? Okay, again, I have a keyword that I've already gone through all my stuff and called pantos, and on some of those pantos, I have called them modern. So I'm going to hit enter. Okay, so there are some patterns that in my database are keyworded with the word modern. How about we select this one? I think I want to work with that one, and then maybe I'm not sure if I want that one. Maybe I will want this one instead. So I'm hitting Control on my keyboard and selecting these two together. Again, I'm going to hit right click, export selected patterns, make sure I'm selected Mary's quilt folder, and export. And there we go. Now, when we go back to our file manager right here and point ourselves at the removable disk, which is my flash drive, under Mary's quilt folder, there are all of those patterns that I have been using. If I wanted to work directly with those patterns right now on my simulation, I could come down here, open up my simulator on my hard drive, and start doing all my layout and rendering that I love to do so much. Or I could just go ahead and extract or remove that flash drive from my hard drive. Remember, to do that, the safest way is to come over here, right-click, and click on eject. Your computer will tell you when it's safe to remove that hard drive, or I'm sorry, that flash drive, and then you can just take that right over to your Pro Stitcher and start to work with those patterns. All right, everybody, so that's a very brief kind of an overview of some of the ways that I use organizational planning in my studio, how I save them, how I bring them into iPattern Studio, how I do some of the keywording, and then export them back to my flash drive so that I can work with them. I hope it's been helpful, and until next time, everybody, it's MK. Bye-bye.
All right, so there you have it. Just a little bit of the way that I handle things at MK Quilts. And I know that organization can be really daunting, especially if you've been doing this for a while like I have, and you've accumulated a lot of patterns. So my advice to you is to, one, just get started. Maybe start with those things that you know and love. Number two, just have a plan. And number three, if you can, take a little bit of time every day to take some time to keyword or whatever it is that you do to work towards that master organizational plan. It will really help in the end. All right, everybody, that's it for now. Until next time, from my studio to yours, it's MK. Bye-bye.